Hi students, in this video we are going to see about the model of a typical processor and compiler directed instruction level parallelism in module 5. Let us go to the topic. If you take a typical processor, there are some functional units assigned and associated with each processor. What are those means? The first and foremost unit is called as integer unit. And the second unit is the advancement of integer unit, that is nothing but floating point unit. After that, there are some units which are felt as primary one. What are those means? Load and store units. Apart from these three basic functional units, there are some other units which are assigned and which may be required or needed for a specific design. So these are all called as a one functional unit of a typical processor. Fine. So move on to the states. So how this processor state and program states will be maintained means it should be maintained and it should be consistent with the program order of a completed instruction. So the processor state and program state should be synchronized and should be consistent with the basis of program order. There are some situations are called as speculative instruction. What is meant by speculative instruction means if the instruction is executed on the basis of predicated branches. So what is meant by predicted branches means if the condition is already known and its branch outcome is already available means at the time the processor will performs the speculative execution of that instruction. So in that cases, the reorder buffer should be cleared. It should be flushed. So that is called as a speculative execution. And this diagram shows the processor design with reorder buffer. So as we discussed earlier, there are n number of functional units are assigned in each typical processor that is given in the top. After that, how these functional units are going to be connected with load and store unit means with the help of reorder buffer and register banks. So there are two separate and additional branches units are added here. What are those means? Reorder buffer and register renaming. So it implements the concept of register renaming and it is connected with the load and store unit. So load and store unit and functional units are the primary units. In order to support these and the communication of between functional units with load and store unit, this register bank unit and reorder buffer unit is inserted. Apart from these two units, there are one more unit is called as branch prediction that will tell about the decision making statements. So if the decision making statement is predicted and its outcome is available means it is decided and it is done in the unit of branch prediction. The functional units in the processor may themselves be internally pipelined and may also be provided with the reservation stations. And the functional unit performs an operation when the required operands for it are available in the reservation station. The reservation stations and all we have studied in the previous model itself. So this functional unit, for this functional unit, reservation station should be drawn and the processor should be executed. Should execute its instruction internally by the pipelined fashion. Okay, move on to the next important term called as operand forwarding. Operand forwarding is otherwise called as data forwarding. It is an optimization technique in pipelined CPU to limit the performance deficits which occur due to the pipeline stall. So operand forwarding is one of the technique to reduce the pipelining stalls. And this move on to compiler directed instruction level parallelism. There is one technique is called as loop unrolling, by which the independent instructions from multiple successive iterations of a loop can be made to execute in parallel. What is meant by unrolling? Unrolling is referred as a body of the loop and it is repeated n times for n successive values of the control variable. If the control variable is starting from 0 to n means it will be executed in n time, so that one instruction of the transformed loop performs the work of n iterations on the original loop. So this is called as the unrolling. So loop unrolling tells about the technique where the body of the loop will be executed in a successive iteration, and it can be made execute in a parallel way. And this diagram shows the loop unrolling. This is one example of loop unrolling. Here there are, in the first case, there is a loop is given. It is starting from the I equal to 0 to 58 and do. So do is a one of the, here this C of I, one formula is given, no. So this is a this will be carried out in a n number of instructions, because it takes by the instruction itself, it has multiplication operations minus operation, that is subtraction operation also, and it takes 1 2 3 4 4 operands together. So it will be executed in some n number of instructions. Similarly, if you take the second example, there are some instructions given for each iteration. Wherever the value of control value of j is incrementing, this n number of multiple iterations will be happening. So that's what this loop unrolling makes it possible for the compiler or the processor hardware to exploit the great degree of instruction level parallelism. So that's what this loop unrolling is, the best technology to exploit to achieve the greater level of degree of instruction level parallelisms. And this loop unrolling by the compiler does not in itself involve the deduction of instruction level parallelism. So this loop unrolling will not be itself committed with the deduction of installing, but it is possible for the compiler or processor hardware to achieve the high degree of instruction level parallelism, right? I hope you understand the concept of this video. I'll catch you in the next video about next topic. Thank you.